Scientists have discovered that 95% of your daily actions aren't even conscious choices. Almost everything you do, from the relationships you form to the problems you keep facing, is actually running on autopilot, a hidden program you never consciously installed. It's like you're trapped in an invisible maze, making the same turns over and over again, wondering why you always end up at the same dead ends. And the most disturbing part, this program was written before you were even old enough to understand what was happening. Today we're diving deep into one of the most profound mysteries of human existence, why we keep repeating the same patterns over and over again, despite our best intentions to change. By the end of this video, you'll understand why you keep experiencing the same painful situations, attracting the same types of people, and hitting the same invisible walls. More importantly, you'll discover how to finally break free from these loops that have been controlling your life. But before we dive in, I want you to take a moment to reflect. What pattern in your life seems to keep repeating, no matter how hard you try to change it? Hold that pattern in mind as we go through this video, because by the end, you'll see it in a completely new light. Let's start by understanding what's really happening beneath the surface when you find yourself living through the same scenario for the 5th, 10th, or 20th time. Imagine a child who grows up in a household where love is conditional. Maybe their parents only showed affection when they achieved something, good grades, winning a game, or being perfect in some way. What happens to this child? At a neurological level, their brain creates a powerful association. I am only worthy of love when I perform well. This isn't a conscious thought, it's a neural pathway that forms before they even have the capacity for abstract reasoning. Fast forward 20 years and this person finds themselves constantly overworking, unable to relax, driving themselves to exhaustion to prove their worth. They attract partners who only value them for what they can achieve, not who they truly are. When someone offers unconditional love, it feels uncomfortable, even suspicious, because it doesn't match their internal programming. This isn't just psychology, it's energy. These patterns exist as actual energetic grooves in your field, like rivers that have carved deep canyons over time. Your life energy naturally flows along these established pathways, recreating the same experiences over and over again. Ancient spiritual traditions recognized this phenomenon thousands of years ago. In Eastern philosophies, these patterns are called samskaras, subtle impressions left in consciousness by past experiences that drive future behavior. In Western esoteric traditions, they're often described as karmic patterns or soul contracts. What's fascinating is that modern neuroscience has caught up with this ancient wisdom. Scientists now talk about neural pathways, implicit memory, and pattern recognition systems in the brain that essentially do exactly what mystics have been describing for millennia. The default mode network in your brain is constantly scanning your environment for familiar patterns, filtering out what doesn't match your established beliefs about reality, and steering you toward experiences that confirm what you already know to be true. This is why affirmations and positive thinking often fail to create lasting change. You can consciously repeat "I am worthy" 1,000 times, but if your energetic system and subconscious mind are programmed with "I am only worthy when I achieve," guess which program actually runs your life? Now, let's look at the 4 main ways these patterns get created in the first place. Understanding their origins is the first step to breaking free. The first and most powerful pattern creator is early childhood experiences. From birth to about 7 years old, your brain is primarily in a theta brainwave state, essentially a hypnotic programming state where you're absorbing information directly into your subconscious without the filter of critical thinking. During this time, you're not just learning conscious lessons from your parents and environment, you're downloading complete operating systems for how relationships work, what you deserve in life, how safe the world is, and what you need to do to survive and be loved. If you witnessed dysfunctional relationships, experienced inconsistent care, or absorbed limiting beliefs during this time, those patterns became your baseline, normal, the unconscious template you're still using to create your reality today. The second pattern creator is trauma. When you experience something overwhelming, so whether it's a single catastrophic event or ongoing stress, your nervous system creates protective responses that can persist long after the danger has passed. If you are betrayed by someone close to you, your system might create a pattern of never fully trusting anyone, keeping people at a distance to protect yourself from experiencing that pain again. This pattern then recreates a reality where deep connection becomes impossible, reinforcing the belief that people can't be trusted. The third pattern creator is cultural and societal programming. The beliefs of your family, religion, culture, and society become deeply embedded in your consciousness, often operating completely below your awareness. These collective patterns can be incredibly powerful. How many people do you know who are living lives that look remarkably similar to their parents, despite consciously wanting something different? These aren't coincidences, they're shared energetic patterns being unconsciously perpetuated. And the fourth pattern creator, this one might challenge your beliefs a bit, is what many spiritual traditions call past life or ancestral patterns. Whether you view these as metaphorical or literal, there's growing recognition, even in scientific communities, that trauma and patterns can be inherited across generations through epigenetics, changes in gene expression passed down from our ancestors. Many people discover repetitive patterns in their lives that don't seem connected to their personal history, but make profound sense when viewed through the lens of ancestral or karmic patterns. The fear of public speaking that has no origin in this lifetime, the inexplicable draw to certain places or people, the talents that came naturally with no apparent source. Now that we understand how these patterns form, let's talk about why they persist. Why is it so hard to break free from them, even when we're consciously aware they're harmful? The simple answer is, these patterns serve a purpose. Every pattern in your life, no matter how painful or limiting, was originally created as a solution to a problem. Your system believed this pattern would keep you safe, loved, or help you survive. Take the example of someone who keeps attracting unavailable partners. At a conscious level, this pattern brings nothing but heartache. But at a deeper level, it might be serving several purposes. It could be maintaining a familiar emotional environment. If you grew up with inconsistent love, consistent love might actually feel uncomfortable or boring. It could be protecting you from vulnerability. If someone is never fully available, you never have to risk being completely seen, rejected, or abandoned. It could be preserving a core identity. If you've built your self-concept around being the person who helps others heal or who never gives up, an available partner doesn't allow you to fulfill that role. This is why willpower alone rarely breaks these patterns. You're not just fighting a habit, you're fighting what your system believes is essential for your survival. So how do we actually break free from these unconscious loops? Let me share the 3-step process that combines ancient wisdom with modern understanding. Step 1 is awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. Most people go through life reacting to their programming without ever realizing they're running on autopilot. The simple act of becoming aware of your patterns is already transformative. Start by looking for repetitive situations in your life. What scenarios keep playing out with different people but the same dynamics? What emotions or triggers seem familiar no matter where you are? These are clues pointing to your underlying patterns. Also notice when you have strong emotional reactions that seem disproportionate to the current situation. These emotional time travelers are often responses to old wounds being activated, not just reactions to present circumstances. Step 2 is understanding the pattern's purpose. Instead of fighting against it, get curious. Ask yourself, how is this pattern trying to help me? What is it protecting me from? What would be at risk if I let this pattern go? This isn't about justifying harmful patterns, it's about acknowledging that they formed for a reason. When you honor the original protective intent, you create the safety necessary for real change. This step often reveals surprising insights. The person who consistently sabotages success might discover their pattern is protecting them from the overwhelming responsibility that comes with achievement. The person who keeps attracting drama might realize that chaos feels like home because it's the only environment where they learn to feel important or needed. Step 3 is energetic reprogramming. This is where you actually rewrite the pattern at its root level, not just changing your thoughts, but transforming the energetic and neurological pathways that have been running your life. There are many powerful modalities for this work, from meditation and energy healing to somatic practices and specific therapeutic approaches. The key is finding methods that work at the level of direct experience, not just intellectual understanding. One simple but profound practice is conscious pattern interruption. When you notice yourself in a familiar pattern, physically change something, your posture, your breathing, your environment. This creates a pattern interrupt that opens a window for new choices. Another practice is inner child work. Many patterns formed when you were very young, so healing often requires connecting with and reassuring these younger aspects of yourself. Visualization techniques where you revisit pivotal moments and offer your younger self what they needed can be remarkably effective. Energy clearing techniques are also essential. Just as your patterns exist as energetic grooves, you can use energy work to smooth out these grooves and create new, more empowering pathways. Even simple practices like EFT tapping or specific breath work can help release blocked energy that's maintaining old patterns. As you work through this shurois, remember that pattern breaking isn't a one-time event, it's a practice. These loops took years or even lifetimes to form, so be patient with yourself as you create new ways of being. The good news is that each time you interrupt a pattern and make a new choice, you're not just changing that single moment, you're literally rewiring your brain and restructuring your energy field. Over time, these new pathways become stronger, and the old patterns naturally begin to fade. Remember that shocking statistic I shared at the beginning? That 95% of your actions are unconscious? Well, the flip side of that is equally powerful. By bringing consciousness to these unconscious patterns, you gain access to that 95% of your life that's been running on autopilot. Imagine what becomes possible when you're no longer trapped in loops of self-sabotage, toxic relationships, or limiting beliefs. Imagine the energy that's freed up when you're no longer fighting the same battles over and over again. This is the true meaning of spiritual freedom, not just thinking different thoughts, but liberating yourself from the invisible maze of patterns that has been determining your experiences. Until next time, remember, you are not doomed to repeat the past. With awareness, understanding, and the right energetic tools, you can step out of any loop and create a life of true freedom and limitless possibility. Thanks for watching.